about this. We all learned to speak our native language before we ever started school. That made it a lot easier to read and write. Well, it works the same with math, and now there's an app to help your kids better understand it before they head to school. Here with more on the app Zip and Abby and how it can teach young kids math as a second language is Edward Manfree. Thanks so much for joining us, Ed.
Pleasure.
So let's kind of get started on this. Tell me a little bit about the app.
The idea is teaching language of math the way we learn language naturally. I mean, kids, we're natural born learners. We learn to speak without rules. We watch, we listen, and we learn to speak. So we could use the same techniques that we could use the same techniques to teach math language.
Yeah.
So when kids come into school in kindergarten, they understand what the teacher's talking about.
Absolutely. Kind of gives them a little bit of a head start.
Head start is a great word for it.
Yeah. And you actually created this idea, right?
Yeah.
How long did this whole process kind of take?
Well, the idea was 5 years ago.
Okay.
And then I worked on different prototypes and even at higher grade levels. Like the first prototype I did was teaching percents and so on. And then about 5 months ago, I decided to do one for preschool kids and actually publish it and get something into homes and into schools.
Absolutely. And tell me, how is this a different approach than how other parents may be doing things?
Probably if you've looked at apps, you see that there's tons. I mean, there's hundreds, even thousands of apps that teach numbers, arithmetic, adding, subtracting, but it's all rote learning. What is lacking is teaching language. When we hear words like more, less, Zip has more balloons than Abby. Abby wants more.
Yeah.
What about a little bigger?
Okay.
You know, this is a little bigger than that. So words that we're used to can be really confusing unless we have the exposure to them.
Yeah. Then
when we get into kindergarten and the teacher is speaking this language with more, less, little, bigger, a lot less, it's not like a foreign language. So we're ready to learn the math the teacher is teaching. So understand the language, understand how to speak it before you get into symbols and formal learning. So it's just laying the groundwork, which is common sense.
Yeah, I like that. The kind of covering the basics of that with those like comparable words there. So you're right too. When they go into school, they kind of already have a background of that, and they're able to understand it. Now, how did you kind of get the idea? It just kind of sprung to you?
Well, I was teaching developmental math at SIPI, the Southwest Indian Polytechnic Institute. So much easier to say SIPI. And the students I was teaching, I had to prepare them for college algebra. But I also had to help them with just understanding when I said something was 30% more than something else. They weren't able to visualize that. They didn't have that background, that fluency. And I looked around for materials that they could do out of class. So they could spend class time teaching the ideas and the language of algebra, but there was nothing available. So after I finished teaching 3 semesters there, I was thinking, what can we do to do that? Have that material there? And I thought about the way I looked at language learning when I was learning Spanish. I was looking at apps and programs that use immersion techniques. And all you do is you look at pictures and you click on the picture that matches. And that's how you kind of mimic immersion. So I thought, okay, let's teach math as a second language. And then we could build the fluency. And I started playing around with this, and I noticed kids and adults really like the simplicity. It's no right or wrong. I mean, you see like a green light or red light, and you don't have the pressure. So it's learning language the way we learn as kids. You don't have rules, you don't have scores or so on.
Absolutely, kind of breaks it down a little bit.
And and the exposure.
Now really quickly, we have about 10 seconds left. Tell me, can New Mexico schools get involved in this?
I would love for Head Start programs or preschools to contact me to use
How do we do that? How do we get a hold of you?
www.learning-chest.com.
Okay.
Or just Google Zip and Abby.
Zip and Abby. That's what the app's called, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. That is awesome. Ed, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of interested there. Like you said, it gives them that language before they go into school. It kind of gives them the groundwork.
Yeah, and it's something different, and kids love it.
I love it. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ed, for joining us. And we'll actually have more information on our website, too, krqe.com. Just click under KRQE links. You'll find it there. We'll be right back.